Dr. Epstein, you lectured today about two main ideas, creativity and innovation. Could you state to our audience that is focused on, in telecom, what are your main ideas about Skinner's behaviorism and what is your message for the Romanian audience?
Well, sure. Well, normally we think that creativity is mysterious, but in fact, if you look at it from a behavioral perspective, you find that you can understand creativity and innovation very precisely. So in my talk today, I explained a theory called generativity theory, and I explained how creativity can be understood very precisely and how it can be modeled mathematically and how it can be taught and increased and accelerated, and this can be done with individuals. It can also be done with organizations.
You stated today that internet could be an alternative school because, as you stated, schools are for full. Do you think it is a general idea or only in US?
Well, I did say some bad things about school. This is true. I think it's going to be difficult to change the education systems we have in many countries, including in the US. But I think we have to be realistic too. We have to understand now that most learning occurs outside of school. We have to understand that the internet is a powerful tool for learning. There has never been a more powerful tool for learning ever in the history of humankind. So we have to begin to think about a different kind of future for our children and our grandchildren. And eventually, I think, learning is going to be individualized, it's going to be personalized, and very little of it will take place inside of a classroom or a school.
What should be your solution for the schools, for the teachers, because the main problem seems to be there?
The main thing that the young people learn in school, unfortunately, is to hate school. Now I know that's not true for every child, of course, but I'd say that's the main thing that children learn, and they learn to hate school, hate books, hate education, even hate teachers sometimes. So, I think, again, we just need to think a little harder about these issues. We need to think about different kinds of schools. We need to think about learning that takes place both inside of a school and outside of a school. We need to think about preparing our children for the world that's coming, not the world that exists now, but for the world that's coming. And the world that's coming will be much different than the world that we live in. It will be one in which technology dominates our lives. It'll be one in which technical skills are very important. That's what we have to try to prepare our children for, not for the world that we see now.
How creative do you think the social media are these days?
Well, social media, I would say these days, are not particularly creative. Social media, unfortunately, are focused on one thing, that is making more money for social media. So I don't think we see much creativity there at all, especially now that the internet is dominated mainly by just two companies, Google and Facebook. So that ends creativity, that ends innovation when a big market like the internet is dominated by two monopolies. You don't need innovation anymore at that point. That's not what the internet was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a place where creativity of all sorts could flourish, where small companies could flourish. That's not true anymore. It's just dominated by two monopolies. That's bad, bad, bad for creativity and innovation.
Do you think there is a difference in innovation and creativity between the generations?
It's hard to say now whether there's a difference in creativity in the generations. Some people, though, who are looking at young people, who study young people today, think that young people are spending too much time in front of their screens. Some people think that this is bad for creativity. I'm not so sure about that, because if you think back just a few decades, young people and adults too were stuck in front of their screens more than 40 hours a week watching television. And I think the screens we have now are much better for thinking and much better for challenging people and much better for creativity, because the screens we have now are interactive. We interact with them. That's not true with television. So again, I think we're probably moving in the right direction, and young people in some ways are being challenged in ways that are important for them for the future. It's hard for old people to understand this, though. But truly, I think that the world of screens that we've created now is highly interactive. It's a great tool for learning all kinds of things. And we have to prepare for the future. We have to prepare for what's coming, not for the past.
What is your comment for those that are stating that the new devices, tablets, smartphones, whatever, are acquiring the attention of the children and they don't interact with each other?
I've heard many people say that these screens are reducing social interaction, but that simply isn't true. And some of the people who've studied this find that the opposite is in fact true. These screens increase social interaction dramatically. They allow us to communicate with dozens or hundreds of people, sometimes all in the same day. They allow us to keep in touch with people that we went to school with. They allow us to keep in touch with people year after year. That was not true before. Before, if you moved to a different city, you would lose contact with all of your friends. Now, moving to a different city doesn't have any impact on your relationships. You can keep all your old friendships. So I really think that the social side of new technology is mainly very, very positive. I think it's a good thing for children, and it's a good thing for social development.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.